We are in the final weeks of another Earth revolution. Autumn's end is nigh. The winds of winter return despite having been around for years, but will likely never truly finish. This solstice brings people together around that evergreen tree as they give happiness to loved ones while watching timeless holiday entertainment. There are the inevitable debates about whether or not certain classics truly are Christmas movies. Nonetheless, join myself and my esteemed guests as we commence a Nerdporeal holiday special. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Nerdporeal holiday special. This is going to be the second of three for the season. So we're going to be talking about Charlie Brown Christmas today, and I'm humbly happy to welcome Pops once again to the channel. How are you, Pops? Thanks for doing this with me.
Oh, I'm blessed to be here, man. Thanks for asking me to come back. It's a fun little TV special. I always want to call it a film, but yeah, a TV special. It's definitely a classic.
Yeah, it's such a unique special. Like they were very unconventional, especially with the way they made stuff back in the day. Like this one, I mean, there's so many things that they did for the first time. Like this is the first time that they've ever used children as voice actors, and you can tell when you listen to it. That's a big part of the appeal. Just what makes it so, I don't know, precious or something, or cute. I don't know how to describe it.
Well, the animation has a lot of flaws. This is the first time they used like the jazz music, which they didn't think was going to work. So there's a lot of those kind of elements that to me set this apart from everything else for sure.
Yeah. Like, what did you think of? I have to ask you. I was in the 80s. I was born in the 80s. I was basically a 90 kid, so I grew up with VHS. I'm curious how you first got into, or how you first encountered Peanuts or the Charlie Brown specials.
So this would be one of these things. These were event TV kind of moments, right? Because these wouldn't be on regularly. It's not like cable now. So it would be, this is the weekend, or this is the day. I think it was during the week, and it'll be on 8 o'clock tonight. Blah blah blah. And it's funny you say that because I remember very vividly, and I wish it's one of those things I was just telling Ironcaster on my show earlier. I got to find certain photos, and you kind of have to have a little chest where these things kind of stay so you don't lose them. There's a photo of me literally like this on like the ottoman watching Frosty the Snowman. So these type of things, this and the Rudolph and all the Rankin and Bass claymations and Frosty, they would be on a certain day, a certain time, and that was it. You had to watch it, and it was event television when these things were played. So I would have been very, very young because this aired long before I was born, but it was an annual thing. So my first memorable time of me seeing this would probably be around that time when that photo was taken. That photo was taken before my sister was born in the early part of 75. So it was before that. So it probably would have been Christmas of 74 would have been that photo. So I'm assuming that's around the time where me watching this would have like sunk in.
Okay. I didn't know Rankin and Bass did those, did the Frosty, the Snowman. And
I know they did. Obviously, they did the Rudolph. I don't know if they did Frosty. I think they did Frosty as well. But yeah, all the claymation ones, the Rudolph, the year without snowman, Santa Claus coming to town, Frosty the Snowman. This one, these little TV special ones were little drummer boys in that sort of vein as well. They were it was a event television for us to see these things for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like just I mean, like just the fact that it's like unfathomable to me to like not have VHS, to
Hmm.
not have a
Yeah.
VCR and just watch it whenever you want to, because that was just not how things were when I was, when I was growing up. But before we can get any further, I want to say hello to the chat. It's like we got more
Hmm.
people than I thought we were gonna get. So I want to start with CLS Studio. Thank you, man, for being here. David Glenn, Dempsey, low spec Linus laptop, LDG, hashtag free the net, and oh my gosh, Roman of the Empire.
Roman, my brother.
The
Talk
question
about
is, the
yeah, my
question is, am I
twin.
the question is, am I thinking about the Roman Empire? That meme.
Mm.
And
We
then
are now. We are now.
we got Rosie Stories. What's up? Thanks for being here. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you everyone for being here. This is gonna be a great stream right here. So
So if you could click on Romans, they could talk about Rankin and Bass being foundation of TV, just to give you that frame of reference again, because of event television, because of the cultural zeitgeist of that. I remember I mean, I had to be kindergarten slash first grade Christmas, don't know which one. Early on, I was all in on Santa Claus, all in on the mythology, all in all this. And I remember just seeing the Santa Claus is coming to town, where it talks about like his name is Chris Kringle, and all that. And this kid had gotten into a fight about Santa Claus not being real and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, no, man. And in large part because of the Rankin and Bass, like this stuff was like it all painted a mythology of how things operated. And with the Charlie Brown Christmas, for me, it was the connection to the religious part, because his little speech, which we'll get to, is right out of the Luke, which is scripture. So that was my connection to the religious side. 'Cause my grandmother she took us to church every single week, so I remember being in church regularly during that time frame as well. So yeah, great memories.
yeah, what's funny is Charlie Brown Christmas was not the first. Now I didn't know this until years later, but I didn't know that Charlie Brown Christmas was the very first like peanut special ever made. I
Hmm.
mean they did do like there was like they Mendelsohn. So I don't know. The producer behind the Charlie Brown stuff was Lee Mendelsohn, and he basically wanted to make a documentary about the Peanuts comics that Charles M.
Yep.
Schultz made, and of course, as y'all know, Charles M. Schultz created Peanuts, Charlie Brown, all those characters, and I believe he wrote all the specials. But yeah, Charlie Brown Christmas was one that I did not discover right away because we used to rent movies a lot. So
Hmm.
we used to go to a video store back in the 90s, and like I used to rent all like the cartoons. It was either video games or animated stuff. That was what I rented when I was from the age of 5 to 10. I don't think I got into live action until I was like 11 or something. So but the Charlie Brown Christmas was not there. The thing that was nice though is Charlie Brown stuff was always in, so nobody ever rented those. Maybe because Charlie Brown maybe really is a loser, but that's not the point. I actually, my dad really introduced me to It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I think
Hmm.
that's pretty much the first special, because that was something. So my dad was a child in '66. I think he was 10. He was 10 at the time. So, he basically was, and this is the thing. I grew up with a lot of cartoons that my parents watched. So I saw 60s and 70s Peanuts. I saw 30s, 40s, 50s Looney Tunes, 30s, 40s, 50s Disney, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck.
Hmm.
I saw Underdog. I saw Woody Woodpecker. I saw so much older like they still showed like, and all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. I saw Scooby. I saw all the stuff that you guys and my parents grew up on too. So they're like I keep forgetting that was also a connection that people of my generation, the millennials, had with the boomers, that we watched a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
They reran a lot of the same cartoons. Nowadays, with people, millennials, and the next generation, our kid, my generation's kids, we connect on video games now, especially with like Mario, Sonic. All those things have been
Right.
multi-generational. A lot of this stuff now is multi-generational, and Peanuts is 3, 4 generations now. Like it's insane. It's going to be 2 years. It's going to be its 60th anniversary. Can you believe that?
No, and it's just one of those things. It's always existed in my life, so I never really give it much thought. There were always comic strips in the newspaper. all the gags were sort of ingrained into the world, into the lexicon of things, like him missing the football, and the gag, all the stuff was there, right? Same thing with the Great Pumpkin. It had already existed. It was a yearly thing. The other thing too was probably the Snoopy versus the Red Baron, the little radio song. The song was kind of a big deal when I was a kid as well.
There's a radio. It was a radio song.
Well, like a record, there's an actual song of Snoopy versus the Red Baron. Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the song, but when I was a kid, we had that 45, and I remember playing it or being, being a kid. It was like a thing. Like, the Peanut stuff was kind of like that. Now, I admit, though, like you say, the group before even me, like my parents, my wife's dad in particular, he was a Peanut nut. So we still have Peanut stuff because of him. Like, we have a couple action figures. We have like a Snoopy bowl display thing. It's like those were her dad's stuff that he thought was kind of cool because it took him to his childhood, or at least when he was younger. I'm not sure it was his childhood, but definitely when he was younger, for sure.
I got a question for you. I'm curious, how many of the Peanut specials have you seen? Do you know? Do you remember?
I have the box set, so I don't know how many there are. In the set, I think there's 4 or 5, right? I think.
Yeah.
So I think I have most of them. Again, I'm not going to pretend to be a Peanut expert or anything like that, but I would. Yeah. It is, like I said, it's been one of those things. It's always been a part of my life. I know there's 2 Christmases, there's at least 2 Thanksgivings, there's the Halloween one. There's at least 1 or 2 more that I probably don't have.
Have you ever seen the baseball one, Charlie Brown's All Stars? The one where he's the manager of the baseball team, and they are terrible, and they're all telling him, "Don't show up, and we'll win." And then he's like, I think the beginning of that special, he's trying to catch the ball. He's going from house to house trying to get to that fly ball, and he gets to it. He puts the glove out, and it just bounces out of his glove, and they're like, "You blockhead, Charlie."
That's the one that aired right after this one, right? Didn't it? Isn't it the first one they did? Yeah,
it was the second. It was the second special. So
so it's the one after this one.
Yeah. So that one was like early '66, and then I think the third one was the Great Pumpkin, the Halloween one, the one with the one that features the Red Baron.
Correct. So. Right. So I don't think I owned that one. I would have seen them all because, like I said, this was the kind of stuff. When I say event TV, guys, remember too, it's like, this is not like Saturday morning cartoons. This isn't like AM and early morning or afternoon cartoons. This is a prime time slot. It'd be massively promoted through TV Guide and commercials, and it would be the buzz all through school. Everyone would be talking about it. Tonight's the night. Charlie Brown's going to be on. And I got to be honest, in hindsight, I realized our parents probably enjoyed the fact that we were probably less of a handful on those nights. You know what I mean? It's like we could be bribed into eating our dinner and making sure we took a good bath and brush our teeth. All the things that you need your children to do to make your operation run smoothly because of these types of specials that would air during the course of the year. And it was every year. These kinds of things would be on. So yeah, it's probably the reason I think we're the nerds that we are too, Nerdporeal. Like it. Because and Roman was in the chat, and we're at the almost exact same age. There's many others that are like that. It's like we grew up in this sort of like phase where this type of stuff was built into our culture. We don't know a world where this stuff didn't happen. Yeah. Now, because it's so ubiquitous, we've lost that event element. I think it does lessen some of the value of this. So I hope shows like this where we can talk about it, we can kind of get into the trivia, and we can find one more person to give a little more value to it or something like that. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I like like nobody, like, this was made within like 6 months of, like, this was 1965, and this was sponsored by, everyone knows this was sponsored by Coca-Cola Company. Mm-hmm. But it was basically they basically came up with they had to come up with something for the holiday, so they came up with the story, and they decided to go with the whole commercialism angle, and there was just such a relatability about this. Like, it's just like not only like you have the cute element with the with the kids voicing all the characters, and that must have been a nightmare coaching them and everything the
My
voice.
understanding, it was like one line at a time for most of them. Like most of them were not professional actors; they were just like kids that they cast. So my understanding,
They were the kids of the production, like the production people. That was their kids. So
yeah. So well, let's back up a little bit because I think they thought that they'd have more time, right? This become okay. We like your idea. They threw together an idea. It was done very, very quickly, right? They pitched this idea, and it didn't even occur to them that the company might say, "We want it by this coming Christmas. We want it by December." It didn't even occur to them. So, but that's what happened. 6 months. Imagine, especially even then, where this has never been done before. Schultz's work had never been like animated before. So the idea of like, well, how do they walk? What will the voices sound like? What are some of the different nuances and things like that? So that first time had to be worked out in only 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's just incredible.
Yeah, so they had to. I mean, just like the fact that they hired Bill Melendez to do all the animation. He voiced, he did all the sounds for Snoopy and later Woodstock.
Mm-hmm.
But they hired the children actors. Obviously Schultz came up with all the stories. And of course, I think it was all the gags are based off of comics and stuff, or based off the comic strips. But I think the thing that is probably the most iconic is the music. Like the Vince Guaraldi trio is beyond iconic. Like that is the reason why I enjoy lounge jazz, because of listening to these specials.
Interesting.
Like my nitpick, like I don't know if you know this, they made a Peanuts film, like a CGI Peanuts film back in like 2015.
Yeah.
And because it was that to me was an event, because they haven't done a Peanuts film since, well, before I was even born. Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown came out in 1980. Right. That was the last of the 4 features that they came out with. So they didn't come out with any more Charlie Brown features for years. And then they come out with this Peanuts film. And they played classical music, and then they played a pop song. And I've said this before, and it's a nip. I know a lot of people are okay with it, I guess, but I was such a nitpick. I'm like, I can forgive Snoopy Come Home, which Snoopy Come Home was actually, I think, my gateway into Peanuts. That was probably the first thing I rented, or my parents rented for me. But they were done. That was done by the Sherman Brothers, who were known for their Disney, their Disney scores and their Disney the songs that they've composed for all the early Disney films. Instead of having the Vince Guaraldi, the jazz, the beat jazz that is widely associated with this. So that was the one nitpick of that Peanuts film that I had. But the Linus and Lucy, da 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 da. I mean,
that was the song.
Who doesn't know that?
Well, that was the song that sold it, right? Because I think he called, different composers. Everyone said they were busy. He said they were busy, and got down to Vince. Vince come up with that piece and played it over the phone. He's like, no, I don't want to hear it over the phone. He's like, no, you don't understand. He didn't really write it all down yet. It was sort of like a work in progress kind of thing. But when it was played, Mendelssohn and Melendez knew something special is happening here. So it kind of like it's like, again, lightning in a bottle. These great things that we talk about, decades later, it tends to be these lightning in the bottle sort of scenarios where everything kind of works itself out. And the music is by far one of the things that's permeated the widest and the deep, as far as everyone knowing the music for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had no idea. I had no idea it was written for this, for this special. So that's what makes it so cool. And then the in my intro, I also played the skating thing to go. I used to hear that growing up. Whenever we went Christmas shopping, they would always play that. At the mall. Like I'd hear it over they play Christmas music over the intercom, and I would hear the skating theme. And they actually used the skating theme more than once. They used it in like A Boy Named Charlie Brown, which was the first feature film, the one where he nearly becomes a champion speller and all that. They did that, and I think they did in a few other Christmas specials. But yeah, the skating theme is, I think, brilliant too. I think that's another iconic piece that they play. I think they play right here in the beginning. So when
Well,
all the
and
kids are
Christmas time
skating,
is here. Mendelssohn just threw those lyrics together. Like it's like this stuff is like, you think these things are all these big complicated backstories, and a lot of times they're just these deadlines that have to be met. Lee
yeah,
Mendelssohn throws it together. It kind of runs from Mendelssohn to Melendez, who's like yes, and Vince is doing his. I mean, it's really just extremely talented individuals grabbing a hold of an opportunity, and they're just making magic, and that's kind of what it turned into.
yeah. So just let's go through the special a little bit. So we get this nice little get this nice little segment. Kids are skating and all that. I mean, animation's not perfect, but you know what? I think it's
Well,
maybe
it's
maybe it's
recycled. It's you'll catch that Charlie's hair doesn't match right. You'll find little nuances, things like that. But you know what? It's 6 months. Like, what did you expect? Like, I mean, look, Melendez, worked for Disney, right?
yeah.
Long resume at Disney, massive resume at Disney. One of the unsung heroes of animation over there, on all sorts of classics. But at the same time, I mean, you're talking about just this is a lot of frames and a lot of cells that have to be taken care of manually.
Yeah.
Just it is a little hard for me to fathom a world where this doesn't exist, because it's like I said, this stuff just always happened. Like, I just always know what Charlie looks like. I always know Linus has a blue blanket. I always know how he sucks. You just take for granted, because it's been ingrained. The idea of it being created from whole cloth is, it's crazy.
Yeah, the animation is like a kid's drawing, and I mean, like, and what's funny is that has resonated in, like, decisions of artists over the years. Like, going back since I'm a millennial, I grew up with Nintendo stuff. Nintendo's known for making Mario, but they made a game based on Yoshi, and it was supposed to be a prequel to Mario.
Right.
Where Mario's a baby, and what they did was they used crayon backgrounds, like pastel and crayon backgrounds, to make it look like what a little kid would draw, that you put on the refrigerator and all that. So that's what came to mind when you said that. So, but like here, like the story here is basically Charlie Brown he's feeling blue. He's supposed to be, he feels like he's obligated to be happy because it's Christmas time, and he's just feeling blue. And he's telling Linus that. Linus has this little blanket, and he's sucking his thumb. And you know what he says? He says, of all the nerdporeal life forms in the world, you're the nerdporeal life formiest. Okay, that's not okay. He didn't say that. Of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Browniest.
Yeah.
And my friends used to say that to me, like, my actual name, like, of all the Brian somethings in the world, you're the Brian somethingest. And I was just like, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, no, it's sort of the same reason I think how The Grinch Stole Christmas resonates with people. Like, even if you tend to enjoy Christmas regularly, as you can tell, I dress for the occasion.
Yes.
You do end up with times where you're just like not as much, right? You're just kind of a little blue, or maybe you have things in your past that make this a little more of a difficult challenge to sort of like be real festive about, and things like that. Charlie is way too young to have that happening, which kind of makes it more intriguing. But then again, I think this is where folks resonate, because like it's like he really is saying very eternal truth throughout this whole thing about the commercialism and not being into it. It's not, I don't feel festive. I don't know why I don't feel festive and whatever. Oh, you just need something to do. You've heard that, right? Oh, just go do something, right? It's like, okay, so that isn't helping me feel any better here. So it's a kid feeling that way, which, I don't know. It's just such an interesting paradox for how I think we as adults can feel, for sure.
Oh yeah, especially with I mean, there's people that have kids, there's people that don't have kids. So I mean, the holidays can be a very like, depending on like your situation. I mean, it could be either a really happy time, or it could be a really depressing time, based on just like your observations of what other people have and stuff, and how you think you're supposed to feel. So yeah, like, this resonated with so many people. Like, just that's why Charlie Brown is that's why Peanuts is a icon. I mean, that's why it's iconic. I mean, it was iconic even before this came out, the strip, but this just it's completely blew up right here. So
I actually like Linus's, because Linus is interesting because he's very festive and he's into things, but he's not overtly so. Like he's not running around like with Christmas lights hanging around his neck or anything like that. Like he's not like some crazy overt individual about Christmas. It's more like an internal, hence the speech later on, but it's very internalized with him about this spirit. Like, you know what, Charlie Brown, like, why are you so blue, man? Like, why? And it's like, well, Charlie's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, Charlie, you're Brown. Charlie Brown, you're just being Charlie Brown. Like, you're always looking at the glass half empty. You're looking at the dark side of this coin. You're looking at it from the wrong ways. And
you're taking such a great thing. You're taking such a great thing and you're finding a problem with it. That's based.
You're nitpicking in a way. Yeah. Linus is very deep and heady. I just love that about his character.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the wise. He's supposed to be one of the wise. If I remember correctly, he's supposed to be like one of the wiser, Peanuts and all that.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but this beginning is just pretty telling right here. And then, we get a nice little gag right here. They're skating and Snoopy's being a dick because, Snoopy's a dick and everything.
Well, this was supposed to be the credits, right? The original TV airing during the credits. I think it's with Linus or he gets cut, but it may be. Anyway. So one of them, when they get thrown around, that's where the Coke logo would pop up. So the original airing on TV, and of course it's not sponsored by Coke anymore, so the Coke logo is not there. So I think it must be the Linus side because I think we see Charlie.
I think I have. I think the one that I have, and I used this I made a video for Charlie Brown Christmas 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean to re-upload it because the audio is not the best. The audio because I used noise gate and it's uneven. Like sometimes you can't hear some of the stuff coming out of my mouth, but some of the dialogue, some of the script coming out. So. But I included that there was I found a black and white version that had the Coke logo in there. So yeah, it's I have it somewhere. I just don't know where it is exactly. So yeah, it was Joe Cool is greater than Flying Ace is greater than Snoopy. I don't even remember who Joe Cool is.
Oh, that's a Snoopy alter ego. You got some catching up to do.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I take responsibility. So we get more blue Charlie Brown here. Poor Charlie Brown opens the mailbox and doesn't get any Christmas cards because Christmas cards, kids getting Christmas cards was a thing back then, I'm guessing. And he's like, "Hey, I didn't get your Christmas card." And he's like, "I didn't send you a Christmas card, Charlie Brown." And he's like, "Can't you tell sarcasm or something?"
So this would have played out like in our classrooms, like Valentine's was another day where you were expected basically your parents would go out and buy a whole box of Valentines. You had to give Valentine to basically everybody. It was all very programmed and inclusive and whatever. So Charles Schultz turns this on its head a little bit here with it's going to play out at the mailbox, which really wouldn't have been a thing exactly. I mean, you get Christmas cards and it was definitely a bigger thing, but that would go to your parents and stuff, not so much you personally. But you in school though, if you weren't getting Christmas cards and you would feel like you were completely left out of the club and alienated. So Charlie Brown, and actually these are kind of some jerky kids, man, treating you would just would just be nice to everybody, man. You wouldn't just do it this way, even if you didn't care about somebody, man. So yeah, this was pretty hardcore stuff for Charlie Brown. This is almost like a kick. It's almost like a pretty kick in the groin metaphor for the adults. About, are you sending a Christmas card to your uncle and or your aunts and the neighbor you don't like and whatever? So I like that. I like this as well when I rewatch it. I'm like, oh man, that's like they hit you to who have you not called or text lately, kind of thing.
The neighbor you don't. I love the you had the neighbor you don't like.
Hey, it was a thing, man. It was a thing. Like it's culturally things are so much more isolated now, but back then that would have been a faux pas, man. You don't alienate your neighbors like that, man.
Absolutely not. No. And then of course we get so kids are out playing, and one thing I had to go out to I don't know if it was like that for the winter, but yeah, we still go out and play, play in the snow all the time. Now kids I think just stay in and play with their tablets or anything. Well, that's probably not true. They probably go out and play. Well, here they're kind of they're just eating the snow, that's coming from the sky. Probably toxic, but these are previous generation.
This wouldn't have been. We weren't even getting lectured about acid rain and stuff yet, because that was some of our pre-global warming climate change era stuff had to do with there was global cooling, there was acid rain, we had all this ozone layer stuff. So no, we would be snowflakes. That was all free game.
Yeah. So eating this, it was just like if the snow's yellow, just don't eat the snow. If the snow's yellow or black or something.
Yellow, brown, and black snow is completely off limits for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
And the whole snowball thing. Oh, I used to get pummeled by snowballs all the time.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of like Charlie Brown. I was like, I was always made fun of. I still have kind of a roundish head and all that, So, and kids used to make fun of me all the time. So I'd be pummeled with snowballs. It was fun. It was, when I think back on it, I feel like it was fun. It was fun and everything. And here they're throwing snowballs at cans because I don't know, something about boomers and cans. Just playing with cans and throwing shit at cans. We didn't have
stuff to knock down. We didn't have like targets. It wasn't like you could run down to the Kmart and you'd have all these really cool flip away targets to shoot and whatever. You were lucky to use these paper things and cans and bottles, man. It was like that was definitely this is not like a little weird cultural thing. That was the thing you would shoot. So
yeah. And of course, setting up the big romance between Lucy and Schroeder. Because Lucy loves the musician in Schroeder. If you don't know, Schroeder's the classical pianist that likes to play Beethoven. Beethoven's his favorite composer ever. And I believe in this one they play. I'll kind of skip ahead a little bit. They play. Okay, that's a little too far. That's a different. Yeah, right here. I think he's playing Für Elise here. And so she's just like laying. She's just lounging there against the piano, and then of course Snoopy's dancing to it, and they're just like, "What the heck you doing, man? What the heck you doing?" So,
I think Snoopy's personality is very unhinged in this for a reason, and it kind of takes and elevates his character. I didn't live before this to know exactly the frame of reference, but for me, the silliness in these little specials is what gave the Snoopy lore such a big deal. How many people just love Snoopy? It's that free spirit feeling, I guess. I think.
Does Schroeder have a cat? I don't even remember. I know Schrodinger had a cat and he put it in a box. And
yeah, Schrodinger cat's a different thing altogether. But the fact that there could be a Schroeder cat would be a great short idea for Apple Plus to. By the way, Apple Plus, if you're trying to tap in on this thing you've paid all this money for, I assume you're having to do some sort of ideas. Why is there not a Schroeder cat short? So that makes sense.
So Beethoven's 6. I don't even remember what Beethoven's 6 is. I know Beethoven's 9th. I know everybody knows Beethoven's 5th. I'm not gonna bore you with the tune. I like to do that on stream, to annoy everybody. So
you're doing just fine. It don't bother me one bit. I was just telling Mrs. Pops this weekend that I've been down a rabbit hole listening to some different. I really, really enjoy Bach and been listening to a lot of. I've been obsessed with Ode to Joy. And some Bach and just some random things. Just, I don't know. It's like clear your head kind of music. I've been listening to some of that. So
Bach, Baroque stuff, it's more of a more melodic, not so harmonic, so much more melodic and very,
I don't have to be, it doesn't have to be immersed. Like I don't have to pay a lot of attention to it. It can just be and feel the area around me where I know Beethoven's almost like penetrates your soul, man. Some of that stuff just really gets you. So I prefer something a little more subdued or maybe a little more distance from it.
That's Bach. That's Johann. That's JSB.
There you go, man.
Johann Sebastian Bach, and then it became a pop song. Then it became a 60s pop. 60s. They took like some of the classics and they made it into like pop songs. Like I think they took the Beethoven's Fifth and made it a pop song too. I forget what they call it, but yeah. So yeah, Charlie Brown is going back to this. Charlie Brown's depressed, and I like how Snoopy's just eating the bones. Like he's just chewing them like they're candy.
Yeah, he's reading the newspaper. And just throwing down snacks like someone at a breakfast table, and then you have Pigpen making the brown snowman, which rock on Pigpen.
The Pigpen. So Pigpen really is prominent in this little really quick scene right here, and then much later in the pageant. And I like how like they're complaining about they're complaining about all the dust everywhere, and I think it was Linus that says. or Charlie Brown's like, pretend it's dust from it's dust from the Old Testament. Maybe King Solomon or King Nebuchadnezzar walked graced graced that same dust and all that. So I was like, Old Testament, go Old Testament there. I don't know, I thought that was cute. I thought that was funny. But we get the iconic psychiatric help right here. The doctor is in, the Dr. Lucy, and then she just spouts out like, all these different phobias, trying to figure out what Charlie Brown has. I forget what the one is that's fear of everything. She's like, that's it. And then I like how when they scream something, like the gag is they it's like the scream is like a gust of wind that knocks their asses down and stuff. So
yeah, she calls it pantophobia. I don't remember if that's actually a legitimate thing or not. So
I'm gonna assume no. I'm gonna assume no, but like the what's funny is the solution that she had in mind. Actually, I think is like real. Okay, salty is salty confirmed pantophobia. I think her solution is actually a good thing, like being part of something, being involved in something, being part of like she said, being part of a production, being part of something bigger than him. I think is a great way. Creating something out of nothing is a great way to deal with a depression, in my opinion. So, I mean,
I think this was, and again, the irony was, as we talked about in the beginning, was the adults seeing themselves in all of this. It's like, okay, well, what would be the advice that you say? And again, I'm being around dealing with some seniors and things like that too, where they have a lot going on. They can feel depressed or lonely, whatever. It's like, well, one of the things you need to do is find something to do, find
purpose.
Something that can, and if you could be part of a play, like you said, it taps into that creative element, something from zero to something. You put your finger on, I help make this or participate in this. So it is some great advice.
And it's like just being a content creator, I might have said this. I forget if I said this on your what's new, or when we were talking about it. But like just the idea of creating something from nothing, yourself. I mean, there's a lot of meaning to that. And so like just making a YouTube video and just putting it together yourself and based on your own ideas and all that, and just using your brain to just put to connect, to make connections and all that, I think is really important, especially with people who are depressed and all that. So just that's a great way to climb, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but I think it's a great way to climb out of that type of thinking, that rut, so to speak. So
I've told people doing this is part of what kind of gets me through. Is people know I work in the city, but I live at a farm, so I'm away from Mrs. Pops. I'm away from her. So part of my sanity is doing this with you guys, hanging out at the comic book shop. The 90s comic book shop was not a comic book shop. It was a little bit of everything. We talk about TV and movies and video games and gaming. And that was what it was like back then. That's what I live vicariously through all of you doing this channel and being able to come and be on shows like this where we can talk about something from the 1960s. This is the dream. This is me and the inner nerd just living out the best of it all. And it is very therapeutic. It is very a key element in elevating my mental health from when I was not doing this, and definitely not doing it regularly. Even when I was dabbling, I wasn't doing it regularly. So yeah, I can't tell you how much I encourage people to try to find some out, and if you don't want to do a channel, listen folks, I'm telling you, there's so many of us that would love to have help and support, and behind the scenes, there's so much work that has to get done, from thumbnails to audio to editing to clips to just other social media posts. Just taking our crap and posting it on other social media elements would be great. I mean, so many of us would just be benefiting from that in so many ways. I encourage you to do so if you can.
Yeah, I agree. And so not just when it comes to creating videos, but just forming external connections with other people is just, that's sure. Part of the reason why I do streams like this, right now and everything, and just building. I mean, I hate to sound but I'm kind of building a social circle with a lot of different content creators, forming relationships, once again, making connections and all that. And I told you,
we're kindred spirits, right? I mean, Let's face it, we're kindred spirits. I mean, Salty was one of the first people that I was really listening to pretty regularly. and learning from. I know I bothered him regularly, like probably a year and a half ago, where I was like, I needed you to nudge me, and and a lot of times people joke, yes, I listen to a lot of you guys at 1.5 to 2 speed, and I'm hitting the like button and going to the next person because it's just, we're kindred spirits. I love listening to everyone talk about the stuff that they enjoy, and you do a lot of this kind of stuff. I'm loving your chillporeals that you're doing. I don't know if you were trying to get out of those, but I'm one of the ones encouraging him. No, you guys keep making him do chillporeals. I'm enjoying those conversations.
I'm still doing them. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Pops. I'm still doing them. I just like having conversations with people, and just
the best.
Yeah, and just and hopefully, if people want to listen, they're welcome to listen. And I like to build and hopefully talk to more people, despite the fact that those get like those streams get like under 100 views. So it's something I like to do. So it's purely passion. It's not something I really plan to
But you could be talking to this great YouTuber that you don't realize is great yet. They may not know they're great yet. And 5 years from now,
yeah.
You had a conversation with them that people didn't even know existed.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the ghosting. No, I'm kidding. The ghosting. Once you get big enough, then you're like, who are these people?
Hey,
I'm kidding.
And you know what? Sometimes maybe that's just the one thing. Like I looked back at What's Your Story this year, and I thought about a few people, and I'm like, I'm not sure I would have a whole lot more that I want to like unpack with that individual, but I thought, well, hopefully they're happy with what we're able to kind of like put a pin in this YouTube verse for them.
Yeah.
And as I move forward with whatever stuff I want to kind of keep working on, they'll do the same on their end, whatever that looks like. So I think all this is great for everybody.
Yeah. Prof and the Dragon, my streaming bro. I tried to ghost you. We see how that went. Yeah, I tend to invite myself on your streams. That's the relationship we have. So, but yeah, but let's keep this going. So
yeah, pantophobia is where we left off. So
yeah, so Lucy the psychiatrist, and we already talked about that. And I think he sees Snoopy, or I think that he looks at Snoopy's doghouse, and you find out that he's signed up to be part of a contest for the best Christmas decorations.
Yep, decorations.
He's just like, oh, my dog has gone commercial.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's just a contest, Charlie Brown. It's nothing wrong with that. He's a dog. Let him do it if he wants to do it. I mean, yeah. I mean, how many dogs do participate in Christmas decorating contests?
I would never have thought that lights was going commercial. So in hindsight, as I've watched this over the last, let's say, 10 or 15 years of my life, because it was something I never thought about at all early on. I don't remember my family really decorating much exterior as a kid either. Now, as an adult, my kids probably don't like Christmas much because we decorate like the Griswolds.
Dangerously, like along the.
It's insane. We had lights. Yeah, it was everywhere, and it's bad. It's crazy. As I was talking to Jay Harang, he referred to it as Santa's Grotto, like coming in and hanging out at my house, like you've been smuggled in Santa's Grotto. But yeah, it was really, again, this is where Snoopy's reputation, I think, gets elevated because he's such a fun, free spirit in all of this. And look at him; he's just grabbing random stuff. He's got lights, but he has a weather vane. He has a random it's supposed to be like a pinwheel. It's supposed to the star thing. It's supposed to be like an old school pinwheel.
Yeah.
The other thing on the right there almost looks like a bullhorn. I don't know what that's. Is that supposed to be a bullhorn? I don't know what's going on. He has all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Look like a bullhorn. So it's like Snoopy has all sorts of cool things going on. That's all I know. So
yeah, like you never know what's like inside this doghouse. Like the doghouse is capable of anything. Like it's even capable of flight. I mean, he's shooting the Red Baron.
These folks that love Doctor Who, it's like, little did you know that Snoopy could be a doctor in a different alternate universe. Because I don't know what's in that doghouse, but I know it's capable of a lot more stuff than I see. So.
I mean, like in the comic strips, he has a typewriter, and he tends to communicate. He tends to communicate to Charlie Brown via typewriter. He'd be like, "Oh, give me my food, owner," or something like that. So, and then we get young Sally here. So Sally is Charlie Brown's little sister, and she's supposed to be so if I remember correctly, Charlie Brown's supposed to be like 8 or something, and Sally, I believe, is supposed to be like 5. And so she's just like, I forget. I don't remember what she says exactly. She's just like, hey, Santa, can you write me a letter to Santa? And
hey, big brother, I need you to write my letter to Santa. She's like 5, like kindergarten, maybe first grade, doesn't know how to write yet. And she starts discussing all the things that she wants and how good she's been, and she wants her cut. She
wants. She's like, feel free to send money, and he's like, oh no, not my baby sister too.
10s and 20s.
10s and 20s. Yeah, that's right.
10s and 20s is my favorite part of that. The speech is, So.
Yeah, the thing that I find so adorable about Sally is when she just harasses Linus. Poor Linus. She's just like, hello, Linus, and he's just like, he puts the blanket on himself and tries to run away, and he can't. He's like, oh, isn't he the cutest thing and all that? So I don't know, it's sweet. It's sweet, but this is like, once again, like, I think this was a 4-year-old that did the voice of Sally. I'm like, they had to do like you said, take after take after take.
Well, I don't think it was takes. I literally think what I was reading, I think I was doing some research for you last week. I think they were talking about like line by line. And having my grandkids that are kind of in that same pocket window where I have like, I have one that's older at 9, but I have like 3 that are between 3 and 6. And I'm thinking, I actually thought about that line by line. I'm like, I could get them to do line by line. I could get them to do, Dear Santa, how's the wife? How did you have a nice summer? I could get them to record the Sally speech line by line. I mean, because I thought about doing that now. I'm like, line by line. I think I could pull that off. So just send money.
Just send
preferably
money.
10s and 20s. Yes.
I love that. It's so funny. And now we get the pageant. So Charlie Brown's the director of this pageant, and
yeah. Oh, sorry, that was my Snoopy in that little frame that we went by. He's getting booed by his dog.
And I like how like Charlie Brown, like he's as the director, he kind of reminds me, because I actually saw this after saying like Charlie Brown All Stars, where he's the manager of the baseball team. So like him doing like him basically giving instruction and giving like signals and all that remind me of all the signals he gave for like for baseball, like when they have to steal base, or when they have to take the strike or walk the guy or something like that. But that's what this particular thing reminded me of. And
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, because first off, I love the frame that we paused on, because look at how he's drawn. He's drawn with his smiles very uncomfortable looking, but
yeah, especially this little zigzag right here.
Yeah, he's got a little funky zigzag. But Charlie seems as though he's thrown into the situation. He's been thrust into the situation in a way where he has some textbook knowledge of what it would be like to direct a play, but he really has no idea what to do. Like he's done some homework. He understands, well, this is going to mean speed up. If I do this means cut it short. But he has no idea how to operate humans. He just understands some of the technical things. Same thing happens with the baseball episode, where it's like he understands like a couple of call signs, but not really how to manage things. And I love that, because obviously Charlie and what Charles Schwartz is going for is this metaphor for the adults. We can see ourselves as Charlie, like, oh crap, I've gotten myself in over my head. I've done some research. It's not working out well. The sense of failure and all that kind of stuff. I love all of that about Charlie Brown's character, for sure.
Yeah, and what's great about Charlie Brown's character is he loses quite a bit, or he fails quite a bit. Yeah. But he never gives up. That's the thing. I mean, when it's typical, life knocks you down, you get back up. That's all it is. So. But yeah, so we hear the Linus and Lucy theme here, and they're just dancing. This is where he's giving his
he's giving the instructions. Yep. Speed up. The other one was cut short. I go stage right. I go stage left.
Yep. So they're playing Linus and Lucy. It's just like, stop the music. They're just dancing. And
where's the dancing? You got to stop on the dancing frame. That's my favorite character. Because Rosie's asking who's favorite character. This is my favorite. I love. Oh man, I cannot ever remember their names. So the orange shirt guy here in the front.
That's So I know the green shirt. This is Shermie. This is Frida. This is a stock character. I think this is Violet. I don't know. I think this might be just a stock character. I don't know if this character has a name or something. Maybe Matt knows. Maybe Matt knows.
Anyway, so I love the dancing characters, and there's tons of these memes that are now on like TikTok and whatever. People will just be like the orange kid, he's just doing the thing side to side, and the guy, he's doing the Frankenstein thing, and then this is my favorite part. I love the dance, and like even Pigpen, he's just got the cello, and he's just like just swing it. Like the animation is so rudimentary, and yet every time I watch this, I have such a blast watching the dance sequence.
Yeah,
that's by far my favorite part. Look at her; she's just like la 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 la. That is literally like watching the 5-year-old granddaughter. If we play it on something she wants to hear, she'll just start like doing stuff, and you're like, "This is so real and authentic." I love it so much.
You know, what's funny is a lot of the ideas that Charles M. Schultz had was basically him. If you ever seen the documentary where he's like driving his kids to school and he's talking to the camera, to the director and the cameraman, he basically just observed his children. He just basically observed his children and their classmates, and that's where he got a lot of his ideas for this. And I think he also drew from his own childhood experiences too. But yeah, a lot of this was just him observing his kids and everything. That's what makes this. That's what makes this ring true.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. It would be, and I have memories. Mrs. Pops would be like an encyclopedia. Like it would be this kid with this situation, like, and they'll just randomly have these dances that they do, and they think they're dancing and they think they're doing their thing. So I can see this being something that he could be putting it. That is my favorite.
What is
the Frankenstein?
He's like a zombie.
He got the Frankenstein going on, man. He's got the Frankenstein. That's what I call it. I have no idea what it's supposed to be an actual dance.
I think, you know,
the orange kid is the orange shirt kid's even better because he's kind of got the shoulders, but then he switches side to side to kind of do the same thing. His feet are going apart. I'm like, I'm loving this, man. This is the best.
Yes, and then they're playing Linus. Yeah,
and the twins are like this, back and forth. Oh yeah,
Linus and Lucy. Yeah, and then like if you're gonna dance anything, you're gonna dance to Linus and Lucy. And look at Snoopy the Chad with the guitar. You know, right there.
Oh yeah, he's a boss.
Yeah, he's a boss. Mashed potatoes. Was that the dance?
I thought the mashed potatoes was this one where they had. No, that's the monkey. This is monkey. Okay.
Rerun is small. Yeah, Rerun didn't show up. I don't think till the 80s. Rerun was the Linus and Lucy's younger brother, a small version of Linus or something. That's what I think. Okay. So.
Yeah, mashed potatoes is more. I don't think any of them are doing it. Mashed potato is the one where it looks like an MC Hammer. Your legs are going like this back and forth, but you're not going across the room. You're just going back. Your feet are going. So I don't think they were mashed potatoing. I don't know. Maybe I've got it wrong. I don't have to look at it. So
he says the orange character with the mohawk has some randoms number string as his name. Okay, I figured. I didn't think he had a name. I didn't think the character had a name. This was pre Peppermint Patty and Marcy and even Franklin. So this like this.
Correct. Yeah, this is the very, very beginning. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we got so let's see. So Linus and Lucy, and of course, you know, Charlie Brown gives his direction, and Lucy is like the script girl or something. Mm-hmm. And so she's giving her own directions, and she's giving everything. So like he's like, why? Sherman's like, why am I the shepherd again? Everything. So, but love pugs. Hello everyone. I am new to the live chat. I just subscribed to the YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this. Hope you enjoy this. Try to make this as wholesome as possible, right, Pops?
Listen, I love hanging out and doing this, and this is a great one to sort of like get to know us a little bit about Love Pugs. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, this is a classic and makes us feel good on the inside, right, Brian?
Really yeah, absolutely. And so let's keep going. So we got Shermy the shepherd and Snoopy. So she's giving directions. Snoopy's just imitating her, mimicking her, mocking her. And then she sees this, and I forget what she said. I forget exactly what she says to him, but she's like, "I ought to hit you." And then she's like, "I ought to hit you." And then, "Ugh, I've been kissed by a dog. Get some disinfectant. Get some iodine."
Yeah. Yes,
get some disinfectant. Get some iodine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so. Yeah, so that's all. I don't know, the Snoopy and Lucy stuff. Did you know? I think there was a later special. It's a short summer of Charlie Brown where they go to summer camp, and I think they're the boys. It's basically the boys versus the girls and everything. And the boys are getting their butts kicked in like every single activity. Except for except there's one thing that they might have a chance with, and Snoopy's on their team, and it's arm wrestling. So Snoopy is better than all the boys in arm wrestling. Like he destroys all of them. But you guess who the champion on the girls' side is? Lucy.
It's got to be Lucy, right?
And he's having a hard time. He is having a hard time beating Lucy. And I think Lucy ultimately wins. He just like he gives up and he licks her. And she's like, I won. I won. It was so ridiculous. So, but like I like seeing that Lucy Snoopy rivalry. Like there's in the movie Snoopy Come Home, they're literally up in a boxing match. Like Snoopy's pissed off and Lucy is just like has a random ring.
Is that the one where he wears a mask? Does he mask himself up at one point? Like Snoopy wears he's like a mask Marvel or something. Like he's like he does like almost like a Zorro or something. I don't know. It's like it's just it's typical Snoopy. Fun stuff.
CLS. I know what I'm talking about. This was a 60s short. It's not Race for Your Life. Charlie Brown is the one where they go racing. They go raft racing with.
No, I know which one. It doesn't it have like short summer or something about summer in the title?
It's called It's a Short Summer, Charlie Brown. It was 1968, I believe. So it was still with the Peter Robbins, who was voicing Charlie Brown in this, was still like the voice actor for that one. So all the 60s stuff had a consistency. Like they had a lot of the same kids voice acting. It's a shame what ultimately happened to the voice actor of Charlie Brown. So like when I think Charlie Brown, I always think of his 60s voice is my default voice in my headcanon. Like I've heard so many different voices of Charlie Brown throughout the 70s and 80s and all that. But like it's a shame. Like he ended up having mental health problems and he ended up going to jail for abuse and all that, and he ended up taking his own life, unfortunately.
Wow.
And he was the same age as my father, same age as my dad. So it's just I don't know. I heard about this and I felt terrible and all that. But like that his voice is iconic. His voice is iconic and will withstand the test of time, in my opinion. So, especially my favorite era of Peanuts is the 60s. I don't know about you, Pops.
Oh, yeah. I don't even really. I mean, you mentioned the movie earlier, and yeah, we have it. It's on. I don't say I don't care for it. It's just one of those things where it's just like, okay, it's on. I don't have any affinity for it. I could go the rest of my life and never watch it again, but the kids watching it doesn't bother me. That's how I feel about the Peanuts, the more modern Peanut stuff.
Yeah, and what do you think of the blanket, Linus and the blanket? So,
it never stops being funny to me.
So I like how
he's always clever. He's
so like
always clever.
The whole Linus and Lucy like little dichotomy right there. She's just like, why are you have this stupid blanket? Like what is like you're 7 years, you're 8 years old. You shouldn't be you're 6 years old. You shouldn't be carrying your blanket around. And that's the thing. My buddy Alex, who's in the chat, I don't know if he's still listening, but he brought up something very interesting. So when Linus always has the blanket with him, no matter what, there's one moment where he doesn't hold on to it, and we'll get to that. And that's something I never thought about until like literally a few days ago when we talked about it. I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing with Pops. We're gonna be doing Charlie Brown. He brought this up, so I can't wait to get to that. But yeah, so there's all this chaos going on in the thing, and Schroeder's trying to play Jingle Bells, and it's just he's getting
right
frustrated.
Back to dancing. Yep.
Yeah, they go right back to dancing. He's just like, okay, we have to spruce this up a little bit. And I think this here is where they talk about like the Old Testament and all that.
Earlier about the sand. Yep.
So like so I think Charlie Brown's like, okay, I have to get a Christmas tree. I got to do something about this. I have to cheer everybody up, or I have to make this more Christmas like. And I like how Lucy's like, oh, get some aluminum trees. They have those. So we get this iconic shot of them walking towards the lights right here. And like, yeah, the animation here just looks a little like their necks are like, look at that. Like the necks are out of proportion with the heads.
Yeah. They knew they were rushing this. They thought this was going to be a disaster. They were like, we just did not do a good job. And again, you have to understand that artists are their own worst critics, and they see all the flaws. They see all the issues. They see the way the eyes look and the hair looks and just everything about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's usually, and usually when an artist is like that, there's some humility there, and I'm more forgiving of, artists who are like that versus, artists who will give you a bad product and try to gaslight you and tell you that it's good when it's not. So, I mean,
Right.
so I mean, it's the same with me when I make a video. I'm like thinking I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I could have done this. I could have done that. So, I mean, I think an artist has to be their own worst critic, to be honest, in order to improve ultimately and grow, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean it's game tape, right? It's our version of training and getting better. You have to do thousands of videos to gotta get rid of the bad ones before we can get to the good ones. So yeah, definitely a work in progress for sure.
Yeah, look at all these triangles right here. Look at all these triangles being Christmas trees right here.
Yeah, I love this depiction because it did feel that way back in the day where some of the phony trees, because the fake trees would look really bad. Like there were fake trees that just look really, really bad back then. So yeah, I love this depiction of just how bad some of it does look.
This looks like a bend, like in a piece of paper right here, like because you have this shade here, and then you have this shade of pink here, and then you have this shade of pink here, and there's this line. It just looks like a folded paper that you're gonna throw like a paper airplane or something at the teacher, and then the teacher goes wah 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 wah, like because I always laugh when I mean they didn't show school in this, but I love how they came up with the idea of, instead of having adults and peanuts, the adults would be unseen. Most of the time they'd be unseen, and they would, especially the teacher, would just have the sound of a trombone. I thought that's one of the funniest. That's one of the funniest gags in Peanuts. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it has just always lent itself to almost like a decompressing moment for being in trouble with the teacher. Like it always felt like wah, 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 wah. Yeah, but it's like. I don't, and you feel like that as a kid because sometimes you're in trouble as a kid, you're tuning out what the adults are saying anyway, and actually all you do hear is wah, 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 wah. So I like that. I thought, that's great. So, and there's some great comments in chat, guys. I know there's no way we can get to all because we're trying to get through reasonably quickly here. There's some great comments in chat. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, you guys are awesome, and I haven't even been rating, so my bad. Yeah.
The tree.
Not to mention the Ant-Man movie was such a nostalgia, was really good, but we still love the OG. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, this tree, Charlie Brown Christmas tree, everybody knows this. Like I think you can buy this. Like you can literally buy this at the store. So
yeah, it's always by our door. We have like a little shoe shelf by our door. We've had that for years, and this tree has sat there with this little bulb for years. We have one.
I'm curious, why do you think he chose this one in particular? Just because he felt like, it's really small and just needs a home?
I think it's a metaphor for how he feels. He feels like the tree that doesn't fit in. He feels like Christmas, like it just doesn't relate. He knows it's a non-traditional thing. Like it may not ever have a home. Just everything about it is sort of the metaphor for how Charlie's feeling, in my opinion.
And the thing is, unlike these aluminum trees, I believe that's a real tree. It's
a real tree. Yeah, that's the reason it bends over when they put an ornament on it.
Pops, that's a great take. I love that. I just love that take that you just said. That makes so much sense about the tree and all that. Yeah. And so he buys it. So just to keep this moving, he buys it. He brings it back, and so we get the whole Schroeder and all that. He brings the tree. Charlie Brown's proud of himself. And they're like, "You stupid blockhead! What the heck is the matter with you?"
Patty, you can't even pick a tree. You can't even get a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and who likes Patty? Nobody likes Patty. Shut up, Patty. And then even Snoopy joins in on the laughter. Snoopy's a dick.
Snoopy is always on Team Lucy. If you watch these shows, he is always versus Lucy, but he's always on Team Lucy against Charlie. So.
Rosie's story says the tree is like him and it needs love to be beautiful.
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
that's very nice. I agree. So so they're laughing at him, and he's just so frustrated with all that. And then he's just like, what is the true meaning of Christmas? And then Linus is like, I can tell you that. I knew it all along, apparently. And then we get this beautiful segment right here. And I actually brought out my brought my Bible right here. I feel like it'd be okay if I try to read it.
You can read it, or I can read it. I'm good. I don't have the Bible verse open, but I have the script. I know the text of what he says.
All right,
So
perfect. Perfect. I will.
Okay.
I will let you helm me.
It is Luke. It is in Luke, by the way. If you guys wanted to read that scripture, it's Luke chapter 2. It's 8 through 14. And Linus's version, though, will read, "For behold, I bring unto you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger." That's what the meaning of Christmas is, Charlie Brown. There you go.
And my buddy Alex noticed this right away. And when the moment that the angel says, "Fear not, look at this," he drops it. He drops the blanket. And this is something I never thought of. So Alex, White Cloaks, guys, you're the man. Like this is like, and this is just a subtlety that Schultz put in. Like that, this goes to show you just how much thought was put into this. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's when you mentioned that before, I looked it up, and it's like there's people who talk about that, like about dropping the blanket. Just drop the blanket, turn your head towards something bigger than you. Are you looking towards a higher power, meaning accountability to something bigger than you? Like, it doesn't matter if you want to believe in the Bible or the Christianity or whatever, but do you believe in something that you are accountable to? And Christmas, with that whole, good peace on earth, goodwill towards men thing, should be a nice universal thing that we used to all come together about and not feud over saying Christmas or Hanukkah or, Ramahana Kwanzmas. It was fair to just, get through everything together and enjoy each other's company and spirit. So,
yeah. And just, So is that basically the true meaning of Christmas, Pops?
I'm probably one of those Shiite Christians who really believes into the hardcore meaning behind Luke 2. Like, it's supposed to be a celebratory time of what our faith is, of like, this is the celebration of the birth of the person that's our gateway back to a creator. That's my short version of Christmas. But at that time, I also think that it becomes interdenominational because it can just be about peace on earth and goodwill to men. It's not about fighting. It's not about our differences. It's not who won the football game. It's not who got gifts. It's not about the tree. It's just about each other's company. And you see this come up a lot. Christmas Vacation has those great moments. You have it in so many of these Christmas specials where we tap into, look, we could all fight over things. We fight every other day. Can we not fight about it today?
Yeah.
And it was very divisive to do this. It was divisive to put this sort of religious messaging there in a kid's cartoon. Like, that was a huge faux pas.
Yeah.
But again, this isn't for kids. It's for everyone. And Schultz did a great job. The producers, Melendez did a great job. Mendelsohn did a great job. It's just they knew they were doing something grander than just doing a little cheesy comic strip for kids. They were doing something bigger than that.
It's deep. And it's about, like I said, it's about coming together. It's just like you said, it's about enjoying each other's company and just being being a source of happiness, especially to those who are, not happy and all that. So that's why parents buy gifts for their kids. It's a selfless thing to do, and you want your kids to be happy. And that's like, as a kid, I always be excited to get gifts under the tree. But now as an adult, and I, have the means to support myself, I can basically buy whatever I want, whenever I want. The true reward is to make someone else happy. And that's, I think that's what, like you said, this is connecting us to the creator and, creating happiness. Mm-hmm. And creating something from nothing, because it could be a void, and it could be, you could be nothing but void. It could be depression and all that, like Charlie Brown's feeling him. It's just about, coming together and being supportive of each other, and that's ultimately what the kids do after this. So Charlie Brown leaves. He's like, screw this. I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy Christmas by myself. and he takes his tree. He's smiling, and he comes across another little thing right here. He tries to put one. He snags one. He snags one of Snoopy's ornaments. he what do you call where you kind of take without permission? I can't think of the word. It's not. I don't want to say steal, but
he is borrowing. One of Snoopy's ornaments is. I have to be honest. I totally related to this. My very first Christmas on my own. I was a college student. I was a freshman. I'd only been there for a few months, and I didn't have any money, no money for this kind of nonsense. And there was it was Cox Lumber. It was a hardware place. They had trees, and in the back they had like the scraps of the trees. And I was able to get a whole big branch, and I kind of made a base and made a branch. So I had the equivalent of a Charlie Brown tree with my first tree as well, where it's basically just a branch, and it wouldn't really hold ornaments exactly. We kind of like found stuff we could hang on it, and that was our quote Charlie Brown tree, and we kind of called it that. That was like, it was our Charlie Brown tree. It was like our way of participating in some of the traditions and things like that. But like we just said, it was really about us coming together, enjoying each other's company, spreading happiness and joy to each other. And there is a time that can be set aside for more spiritual and deeper things, which is fine. If that's not your thing, that's fine too. I don't think we need to be as much as we should be coming together with positive things. It's also sometimes being positive is just don't be negative. It's like, how about the absence of you being negative about those things for a day is also part of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and just like you said, just being there, just being there for each other, and yeah, and that's ultimately what these kids do. They come back, they see the tree is down, and Linus drops his blanket, uses it as a like a, I don't know what you call where you put it, like you wrap the base of the
tree skirt. Yep,
he uses it as a tree skirt.
Tree skirt. Yep,
tree skirt, and then they basically decorate it with all of Snoopy's things. So I'm guessing they had Snoopy's permission because he's there. And then it's created anew. It's beautiful, and it looks like a nice little tree. And then Charlie Brown, they're humming "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." Sorry, I nearly got that wrong. And then Charlie Brown comes and sees this. He sees this, and he's just like, I love this little shot right here, the zoom and all that. And that's how I decided to end my intro, was with him seeing that tree. And
right, because that's the thing does the tree really look like that, or is that just his way of seeing the tree? Like, is the tree transformed or not, and that kind of thing? But to Charlie, it is transformed because the kids did something, a random act of kindness for him. They took his little sapling, pathetic little tree and made it into this sort of symbolic of Christmas and participation and being accepted by the group, and them saying Merry Christmas to him. Yes. All of those elements just make you feel at home, like you can be part of the tribe. You can be part of the celebration and the festivities and all that. You don't have to be on the outside. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And and that's pretty much where this concludes. They sing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." We got and it just and it's a beautiful that you see the snow come down, and I like how the song doesn't finish either, but that's not the point. So, but so that concludes Charlie Brown Christmas, and it's a beautiful piece. It's timeless in my opinion, and it's just everyone in chat, like, is this like I'm curious what your favorite Charlie Brown special or film or whatever is. Yeah, put right down in the chat. I'm curious. So now let's review Christmas Time Again. It's probably in this file. I think it's the 80s one, but we don't have time for that.
I think it looked like it was for both pieces. It looks like it was a long file. So because I have both on my disc. That's it.
Yeah, this is the one where Sally. So I think this is an 80s one. So this is the one where Sally has to say "hark" for a play, and because she sees Charlie Brown with hockey sticks, she accidentally says hockey sticks during the thing, and she only had one word to say, and she was practicing the entire time, and then she gets it wrong. That's the only thing I remember from this. But that's basically this. And I think and then somehow Flash Beagle got onto this file too. So so Flash Beagle, Charlie Brown, 1984, because Charles M. Schultz went to see Flashdance in the theaters. Like, you know what? I'm going to make Snoopy look like what's her name from Flashdance. So
right.
But yeah, but that's a great that's a topic for another day. So
Charlie
yes,
Brown Christmas and Great Pumpkin to me are just these two, because they're for their time and their season and their event, and they're not meant to be. I don't know. I don't need. It's like Alien versus Aliens. I don't need to fight over. I love them both for what they are. They're not. They're apples and oranges. They're both beautiful as what they are. I don't need to fight over some of the semantics. I love them both. So
I agree. Maybe next year, maybe It's a Great Pumpkin will be a serial horror chat, even though it's not really horror. But you know what? I got a candy. I got a taffy apple. I got a candy. I got a rock.
One of the easiest costumes to ever do. Just got a last minute costume. You can just
holes everywhere. Holes all over. Yeah.
If you want to go fancy, you can put a black cloth on the inside, so you have the holes on the outside, the white, and then you can really go all out.
So Pops, how many Snoopies out of 10 would you give a Charlie Brown Christmas?
I don't know how you don't go at least 9, because I mean, it's like such close to perfection. I guess, if you had to nitpick it, it's because of the, it still has flaws and issues because of the 6-month production ramp up and things like that. But then, you feel bad for trying to penalize it for that, because it still is timeless almost because of its flaws. Like, it almost is more relatable because of those flaws. So I just, it's in the top tier for me. I can't tell you. It's always watched every year. I don't know if we watch it multiple times or not. It probably depends on how many times we have the littles. But we've already watched it once this year, so I don't know if we'll have if it'll get back in the rotation for a second view or not. So,
yeah, I'm pretty much with you. I'm 9 out of 10 Snoopies. It's like I said, it's timeless, and it's such a beautiful little special that has a lot of depth to it, and that's why it was acclaimed, critically and by audiences too. So I mean, there's nothing but positivity came out of this project.
Yeah, and for those of you who are trying to throw rocks, I didn't give it a 10. It's a Wonderful Life is my only 10. So just so you guys know, It's a Wonderful Life is my only 10. I would say my 9.5 is probably The Nightmare Before Christmas. And then there's a whole bunch of these 9s. There's a bunch of 9s. So, yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life, huh? Well, Merry Christmas to you too, Pops, in jail.
In jail, yes, I know. It's
Mr. Potter, the greatest Christmas villain of all time, obviously based off of Scrooge, but unlike him,
irredeemably so. Yes.
So, Pops, thanks for doing this. We're approaching the time that the time limits and everything. So anything you want to promote, anything you want to plug for your channel, I really appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate the invite and hanging out. Always great to see all these wonderful folks, meet some folks that I haven't met before here in chat. That's great. It's /Pops. It's at Pops, so it's easy to find.
It's in the description, so if you gotta do it.
Sunday is the last What's Your Story of the year. Stone Loki and I kind of do a little recap of sort of like life lessons and advice from just, those kind of conversations, because he does something very similar in his channel. So we kind of did that. Every Wednesday is Comic Book Day, so I've been walking through Batman Nightfall, which turned 30 years this year. So it's been kind of fun going through comic books and different things like that, which I love. And of course, the rest of the time is filled with commentary or reviews or different things that are newsy, or reviews about shows, movies, things like that. So this is it, man. This is the nerd life that I live and have been living for so long. So, and you gave me a chance to don. I don't wear the ostrich very often. It's very hot. It's an ostrich Christmas sweater. Like I don't know why we need to have an ostrich Christmas sweater. But the kids got it with sort of like a, I dare you to wear it kind of thing. And the problem with wearing it is not because I won't wear it, because I think it's funny. I love doing... So if you haven't figured out, in real life especially, I enjoy putting you in an awkward situation sometimes. I think it's fun to just figure out where... So I can walk in a room with something like this on, and people are just like totally like, what on earth is happening? Like, it's either too Christmassy or I'm trying to make a statement or whatever. I just think it's ridiculous. So why on earth why do we even need this? And I don't wear it because it's hot. It is super hot. It is super hot. So
I have to get I'm going to a Christmas party on Saturday myself, so I have to get I don't own any ugly Christmas sweaters. So I have to. So I'm gonna see if I can order a Star Trek themed ugly Christmas sweater. But I don't know if I'm gonna get it in time because it's Saturday's 5 days away, and I'll have to see unless Amazon can accommodate me there.
Next day, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's anyway. So yeah, I've got a stockpile. We were buying stuff like after Christmas when they go on sale, so that's how it landed in my lap. And the kids just thought it was so clever to wear something so obnoxious. But yeah, word for you, my friend. The ostrich. You got the ostrich spot. Yeah.
All right. Well, Pops, thanks for doing this. Everybody,
thanks, guys.
Once again, everybody go to Pop's channel, hit the subscribe button, and and don't forget hit the like button here. Turn on that bell for notifications. Pop, tell everybody why they should turn on the bell for Nerdporeal notifications.
Well, first off, it's the best way to know what Nerdporeal is doing. Like, how can you keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in Nerdporeal verse if you don't have the bell on? And how will you know that you need to go backwards in time and find out, like, what is a Nerdporeal? What was it like when he only had, like, I don't know, 500 subscribers? How different is this guy? I mean, the only way you're going to know is if you subscribe and you dive in deep. And then if you're really like, you know what, I see what's happening here, then you want to join the channel and participate. And maybe if you're really a crazy person, you're like, hey man, you need help with something? You want to do something? Next thing you know, you're a Nerdporeal and you didn't even know how easy it would be to be one.
Yeah. I appreciate that. that was beautifully said. Beautifully said, sir. Beautifully said. But yeah, everybody, for me. So the next thing I'm doing. So right now I'm working on a review for the movie The Boy and the Heron. That was the latest Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki. It's Hayao Miyazaki's swan song, at least his current swan song. So a decade ago, he had a swan song called The Wind Rises, and he retired. But then he got out of retirement because, I mean, the guy is a workhorse. Like, he animates like 18-hour days, like for 40 something years. So he's not going to, and if he still has the energy, he's going to come back and do it. And this particular movie took about 7 years of production. So it cost a lot of money. And because of the Godzilla thing and everybody, praising Godzilla, I went and saw Godzilla and I saw that trailer. I was like, okay, I got to see this. And I was like, when's this come out? Next week already? So I saw 2 movies 2 weeks in a row. So I did the Godzilla non-spoiler review. So check out the Godzilla if you haven't seen it. -1, excellent movie. And I'm currently working on A Boy and a Heron review, which was first 20 minutes were, had me in tears because of, it's semi-autobiographical of Miyazaki himself. So dealing with, loss and all that. So, Lady Mist. But next Chillporeal will be Friday. I'm doing part 2 with Amanda Nathan. We're going to be talking Wheel of Time, Legend of Galactic Heroes, maybe some Christmas stuff, and while drinking some bourbon. And in my case, I'm going to try and make a cocktail with the bourbon, maybe some eggnog and bourbon or something cool, something Christmassy. So it's that time of the year. And then next week I am doing a stream with Angry Canadian. We're going to be talking the Legend of Zelda music from the first 2 NES games. So he's going to be leading that. And then I'm going to be doing my final Christmas stream with Mags. We're going to be talking White Christmas, and I've not seen White Christmas, so I'm going to be seeing this for the first time. Bing Crosby and I forget who else was in the movie. But
that is OG, man. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, so I can't wait.
That and Holiday Inn, it's like the whole world's going to change for you, man. You're going to start seeing all this stuff with. Yeah.
Salty recommended Holiday Inn, so I'm going to see if I can. Maybe I can fit Holiday Inn. We'll have to figure that out. So we'll see about that. But Holiday Inn. Yeah, that's another one that I didn't even know about until Salty told me about. So that's that. I'm doing that next week, and then I'm having another Chillporeal right before Christmas with my friend Marty. We're just going to talk Christmas stuff. We're going to talk about Christmas experiences, probably presents, vacations, food, movies, probably just whatever. It's chill stream, so we'll just talk whatever. So yeah,
very cool.
So all right, man. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Pops, once again, thank you for doing this. Chat, thank you for being here. Hit the like button and leave a comment. Leave a comment before you go. Nice. That way it gets good bumps on the algorithm. So, all right, everybody. Peace.